Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing your May horoscopes. So if you're new to my channel, please, I always urge people who are watching horoscopes to watch not just the horoscope for their sun sign, but also watch the horoscope for their rising sign, because they might actually relate to it even more. If you don't know what your rising sign is, then you can find that out super quickly, super easily. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box down below to an online natal chart generator and figure out what your rising sign is. All you need to do is put in your date, time, and place of birth, and boom, there you go. You've got your natal chart in front of you, and you can find out what your rising sign is. So without further ado, let us begin with, obviously, as usual, as for always, Aries. Now, what is happening with you, Aries, in May? Well, I have to say, a lot of energy is focused on your house of money and on the income that you make. So I'm not talking about money that comes to you from other people or as like some sort of gift or money that you haven't worked for. I'm literally talking about the money that you are making, that you are working for, that you are earning, and that you are toiling for. Now, you've got a new moon in that sector, my dear Aries, on the 4th of May. So there's a new moon in Taurus happening in your second house of earned income. This is also called the house of values. Now, what does that mean? So new moons in general represent the beginning of a new cycle that lasts for a year. So this is a fantastic time for you to reevaluate what you value in life in general. So what you deem as being worthy, what you value in yourself. So it's a good time to reevaluate your strengths, your let's say skills, things that you would like to work on, and also reevaluate your sense of self-confidence and hopefully renew it and feel empowered by it. The new moon in Taurus is also very likely to bring you a new source of income, or you might feel like this is the beginning of a new phase in your life. So we're talking like possibly about starting a new job or receiving a job offer or receiving news of a new source of income coming your way. Whenever there's something new entering our lives, it usually means that something old has to go. So do not hang on to the old, which I'm fairly certain that if you've got like a strong Aries influence in your chart, you won't hang on to the old. So you should be fine in that respect. We also have, after the new moon in Taurus on the 4th of May, so circle that date, we also have Mercury and Venus joining the sun in your second house of earned income. Venus enters Taurus on the 15th of May and Mercury enters Taurus on the 6th of May. So the spotlight is 100% on your money this month. Make the most of it. Apply for that, I don't know, promotion. Go to that interview. Chase that HR person for your job offer. And consider it a time when you can reassess how you think about money in general. Make plans for the year, make the budget for the year as well. Learn how to budget if you're not very comfortable to do that. So yeah, money, money, money. That's what May has spelt all over it. Now we've also got on the 18th of May, a full moon in Scorpio in your 8th house. Now, what is the 8th house? The 8th house is another very close related to money house. So it is the sector that is called the money that belongs to other people and that they share with you, or your own shared resources. So the resources that you can't just keep for yourself, you have to give them away to other people. And the 8th house is also the house of inheritances, the house of gifts. It is also the house of crisis, the house of sex, the house of taboos, and the house of that part of ourselves that we are not necessarily willing to acknowledge in front of other people. Now, a full moon there is a culmination, and this full moon, you are going to be very, very happy to find out that it is really well aspected, if I may say so. So this full moon receives beautiful beams from Saturn and from Pluto. These are both placed in Capricorn at the moment, and they are going to be sextiling the full moon. Saturn and Pluto are also going to be sextiling the sun, which is going to be placed for most of the month in your second house of earned income. It feels like finally you are reaching a point of culmination when it comes to the money that you make and the money that you have to give to other people. So the things that the value that you bring into your life and how that sort of value makes you relate to other people. It might be literally a point when you sit down with your significant other, with your partner, or with the people that you have to share resources with in this lifetime, and figure out a plan that works for both of you in the future. It might also be a time in the month when you reach some sort of breakthrough related to a crisis that you've been going through. This can be related to your sex life, but it can also be something that it can be like a demon in the closet, a skeleton in the closet that you are unwilling to acknowledge and unwilling to deal with. It's finally a time when you're facing it, and you have a plan in the long run, and it's gonna be very healing for you, and you face things heads on and you don't let fear dominate you. But again, all in all, May is a month that is very much focused on money for you, my dear Aries. So make your plan for the month, make your plan as to how you share resources with other people, and let me know how it goes. Now, let us move on to Taurus. Taurus, my dear Taurus, it's still your birthday month until the 21st of May when the sun moves into Gemini. Now, what can you expect from May? Well, on the 4th of May, we've got a new moon happening in your first house. And it's going to be conjunct with Uranus. So what does that mean? So first of all, you've got Uranus transiting your sign for 7 years. So this started as of last year, but you've got literally like a 7-year phase that is going to change altogether who you are, how other people see you, how you want to relate to the world, how you relate to the world in general, how you approach the world, how you approach the world's expectations of you. And it feels like at the end of this cycle, you will be reborn. And it's going to be very empowering and very liberating, because finally you are not doing things because society expects you to do them anymore, or because your own common sense is telling you that you should just like stick to what you've got and stay in the same place. You know, Taurus is a fixed sign, and you guys are quite guilty in general when it comes to sticking it out and staying in a situation for way longer than it is needed to. So you might have outgrown your circumstances a long time ago. Now, a new moon in your first house, let's go back to that, is the beginning of a new cycle as to who you are and how the world sees you. You are changing. Your personality is changing. The way you approach life is changing. The way you tackle new beginnings is changing. Even your personal style is changing. You might be tempted to go for more eccentric, more edgy, more rebellious, or not even that kind of like, I don't know, clothing or outfits or how you present yourself. It might also be things that you consider very unconventional and not necessarily style options that you would have gone for, let's say, 2 years ago, or they might have not resonated with you at all, and now you find out that your tastes have changed. The way you look at life has changed. The way you want to be perceived has changed. And in order for the world to perceive you differently, you have to make a conscious decision as to how you present yourself to them. I would also urge you to be quite careful when it comes to not, I don't want to say hurt yourself, but you're very high strung these days. And you might realize, so accidents are quite possible, but they're probably not going to be like serious in any way. Be careful, like, not to cut yourself or stuff like that. You might realize that you as a Taurian, in general, you've got like infinite patience, and you used to have infinite patience, and it would be like really hard for people to annoy you and to get on your nerves. Well, lately, that has changed, and your temper has changed also, and that's fine, and you don't have to beat yourself up by that. You might realize that you are a lot more high-strung and have a much shorter fuse than you used to have. You might be prone to ranting, to venting a lot more often than you used to, and that's fine. Embrace it. It might surprise yourself, it might surprise others, it might cause other people to like leave you behind, or let's say it might cause them to not want to be associated with you anymore. But if people are not willing to accept who you are, then do you really want to be associated with them? I don't know about that. I genuinely don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. That's what I'd say. You're probably going to be the most surprised out of all people as to how you react to things and how you take life in general. Now, on the 18th of May, what do we have? We've got a full moon in Scorpio in your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, long-term relationships. Now, this is the culmination of a cycle that is happening in your 7th house. So it can culminate with a proposal, a marriage proposal. It can culminate with you, let's say, moving in with your partner. The reason why I'm making like all these very positive forecasts is because the full moon is super well aspected by Saturn and Pluto. So this is a big change that is coming up for you, and it is like a peak in your personal relationship, I would say, in your one-to-one relationship. But it's positive and it's for the better, and we've got Pluto involved, so radical change, and we've also got Saturn involved, which means long-term change. And it might hit you in the face and you might say, okay, so we're in this for good, and we're doing this, and we are committing to this. Commitment to another person is the key word here, my lovelies. So that's it, Taurus. Oh my gosh, I've given you so much insight to work with, I hope. Gemini. My dear Geminis, what does May have in store for you? So, I have to say that May, for you lovely air fellow signs, should be a month in which you need to take it easy. I advise you to take it easy. You've got a new moon in Taurus in your 12th house on the 4th of May. The 12th house is the house of retreat. It is a very spiritual house. It is a house of looking inwards. It is a house of isolation. So I advise you 3 days before the new moon and 3-4 days after. If possible, take a break, take a holiday, take a few days off, go to a retreat. Shut yourself off from the world. I know it's so hard for you to shut yourself off from the world because you are the #1 social sign out there. But you do need to do a little bit of introspection. You do need to detach yourself from other people's energy and face what is happening inside. You might have like some sort of revelation around what you believe in and your spirituality and how you connect with the universe, but that can only be done in private, not in public. So take your time, enjoy this. You might feel a little bit sluggish, you might feel tired, you might feel exhausted. This is a sign. This is a sign that you need to take it easy and you need to extricate yourself from the daily grind and focus on you and what is happening inside of you, what is going on within. Now, this new moon is very well aspected by Saturn, I have to say, and Pluto. whatever sort of spiritual revelation you get to, this is likely going to have an impact upon some of the crisis and the trauma and the pain that you've been carrying around with you since childhood. This is also a good time to consider alternative ways of healing. And I always advise people to do this, but this is the perfect time for you to meditate, to open up your third eye, to tune into that higher consciousness and face what's going on inside of you so that you can finally heal. So that's happening around the beginning of May. Obviously, we've got Mercury and Venus joining the Sun in Taurus for most of this month. So we've got, on the 6th of May, Mercury is moving into your 12th house. So you might not be so much in the mood for talking, not anymore. And Venus is joining these two planets on the 15th of May. So around the 15th of May, you might actually enjoy the isolation and the private time. So I'd say the first 2 to 3 weeks of May are fantastic. If you can get away, if you can go on holiday, if you can take it easy, look after yourself and chill. And tune into your soul rather than into your brain. I know that's really hard for you guys, because you are ruled by Mercury and you're ruled by the brain and the logical mind. But just try it. Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 6th house. And this is super positive, guys. So the 6th house is the house of day-to-day work, job, daily duties and responsibilities, the house of co-workers, the house of your daily routine. This particular full moon is receiving beautiful beams from Saturn and Pluto. Now, you might finally be acknowledged for what you bring to the table. You might finally feel like you are making headway in your job, and the responsibilities that you've taken on, or the responsibilities that may be offered to you around this time, are worth it. And they're going to help you advance in your desired field. And not just that, you're going to enjoy the added responsibility. You're going to enjoy finding yourself on the path to becoming an authority in what it is that you do. And I have to say, it's very likely that whatever happens in your work sector this month, those higher up than you, so bosses, managers, CEOs, they think highly of you, and they are likely to repay you. Maybe not necessarily with money just yet, but your merits will be acknowledged. So, something to be happy about. Am I or am I not right, guys? Now that is Gemini. What is happening for Cancer? My dear Cancerians, my fellow Cancerians, to all those of you who are new to my channel, I am a Cancer rising myself. On the 4th of May, my dear Cancer, we've got a new moon in Taurus happening in your 11th house. Now, the 11th house is the house of friendships. It is the house of your higher ideals. It is the house of your social life to an extent, and the groups of people that you decide to become a part of. Now, what is going on over there with with the new moon in your 11th house, my dear Cancerians? Whatever's happening is going to hit you in the face out of nowhere. It's going to be sudden and radical and electric. Why do I say that? Because the new moon is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus, we all know, is the planet of the unexpected, the planet of genius, the planet of electricity, the planet of sudden changes, the planet of liberty and rebellion and progress. You're very likely to reevaluate your dreams and your ideals and your long-term plans and objectives around the 4th of May, my dear Cancer. And, get ready for this, you are not prepared for the sort of insight and revelation that is headed your way, Cancer. I mean, you might be like emotionally prepared, but like mentally, you have no idea what's coming your way. And it might be a lot better than you imagine. Now, I have to say, you might feel a little bit scared about the things that you realize around the 4th of May. You might be scared about acknowledging that the dreams that you thought you had no longer fulfill you, and it's time to like chase new dreams. You might also fall in with a new group of people, a new group of friends, and you might be inspired by them. You might be completely taken aback by what they propose to you. All in all, it's a very volatile time. There might be fights, there might be quarrels with friends as well. But I feel like you're gonna attract the exact right tribe, and you just have to face that your future, because the 11th house is a very future-oriented house, is not what you envisaged it to be, and that's totally fine. And it all seems to come together now, my dear Cancer. So definitely something to look forward to. I mean, you might be a little bit stressed, obviously, because, hey, change is scary and revelation is scary, but don't allow that to put you off from realizing. You might have you might finally see the truth as it is, and that's very powerful. Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon in Scorpio in your 5th house. This is a beautiful full moon. Can I just say, it is very well aspected by Pluto and Saturn. The 5th house is your house of love, of romantic affairs. It might be the full moon and like the days before and the days after are gonna be very romantic. You might feel like all your energy is being focused towards love and romance, but also towards like being playful and having fun, and your creative spark might go through the roof out of nowhere. I'm just telling you. So the 5th house is also the house of children. If you've got kids, or if you're planning to have kids, this is a good time to like try to have kids. In any case, it's a time for you to enjoy the fact that you are being loved. It's a time for you to tune into the inner child, and it's a time for you to focus on having fun. I mean, what is better than that? Just have fun. Just do the things that bring you joy. Create something. Express yourself. You might be finally acknowledged and recognized for something that you've created in the past, and that's going to be something that will impact your long-term plans. Again, you know how that falls in line with the new moon on the 4th of May, Cancer. So make the most of it. My lovely Leos, what does May have in store for you? So, first of all, we have a new moon happening on the 4th of May in Taurus. That is going to happen in your 10th house of career, of honors, of bosses, of career ascension and professional pathway in life. And not just that, so this month I have to say is very much focused for you on your career and your professional development and where you are headed. And that is also because Mercury on the 6th of May is joining the Sun in Taurus, and Venus on the 15th of May is also joining the Sun in Taurus in your 10th house. What does that all mean? So the new moon is the beginning of a new phase, of a new cycle. And this particular new moon is gonna be very surprising for you, my dear Leo. Why is that? Because we've got Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, the planet that hits us in the face like a thunder or like lightning, because Uranus governs electricity as well. It's going to bring surprise, this new moon, into your life, in your professional life. It might take you completely by surprise, as in unprepared. You do not see this coming. It's a new beginning though, and you have to take it as it is, and no matter what it throws your way, there is no point on hanging on to the past and what's been and the way things were done. This is a new cycle and things should be done in a new way. The new moon can bring a new opportunity career-wise for you. I have to say this month in particular, until the third week of the month, I'll say that it's really beneficial for you to like go to interviews, to put yourself out there if you are looking for a new opportunity. This is the best time to get yourself in front of people because we've got also Mercury, who's going to be in your corner career-wise. Mercury is the planet of speech and of communication and how you express yourself. So you might find it a lot easier to communicate things to those higher up than you or to potential bosses. Around the middle of the month, you might actually, so the second, third week-ish, you might actually receive a new offer, and it's going to be quite enticing from a financial point of view because we've got Venus backing you up there. In any case, this is a month when people that are higher up than you see you in a good light. You might be completely taken aback by the plans that they have with you and by the things that they're going to propose to you, but in a good way. Embrace it because you are protected. You benefit from the protection of Venus for the month of May, and embrace what's coming your way, even though it wasn't what you envisaged, even though it wasn't what you had possibly prepared for. It's your time to progress because Uranus wants you to progress in your 10th house of career, and things that have worked for you in the past will no longer work for you. So to the future with open arms. Now on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 4th house. Full moons are a point of culmination and also like the highest point that a specific phase reaches. After the full moon, things start to decline and a period of like endings and wrapping up usually comes. This full moon is very well aspected by Saturn and Pluto. You might make a very decisive, very radical, and very long-term move when it comes to your home, your living situation, your residence, your family. I'd have to say it is very likely that you are going to move to a new house. It is very likely that the new place that you move into has a very beneficial effect on you, a very healing effect. I'd also say you benefit from the help of two really big and powerful planets. Well, powerful because Pluto's not that big. Pluto's actually quite small. Saturn and Pluto are in your corner when it comes to this full moon. And the move that you make is a positive one, even though it might scare you, even though you might have, let's say, doubts related to your professional life, to your career. You might make a huge decision regarding your family life, and it's going to change your life forever. I know that sounds like a really long time, but it is like that because we've got Pluto, the planet of radical transformation, of death and rebirth, backing this up, and Saturn, the planet of time and long-term commitments, backing this move up as well. All in all, it's a very positive month. Big changes on the professional life and home life sector because that's the axis on which we have the full moon and the new moon happening. It's all for the better. It's a new beginning, it's a new cycle, and why hold ourselves back when the universe has better plans for us? That's what I think. You know what I mean? My dear Virgos, welcome to your May horoscopes. Now, what is going on for you in the month of May? On the 4th of May, we've got a new moon happening in Taurus in your 9th house. Not only that, we've also got Mercury joining the Sun in Taurus on the 6th of May, and Venus joining the Sun and Mercury in Taurus for the rest of the month. What is May about for you? First of all, if you're planning some sort of like educational classes that you'd like to attend, if you're thinking about your education, if you are thinking about learning new things, if you are thinking about exposing yourself to knowledge that you haven't been exposed to, this is the month for you. This is the month to like apply to uni. This is the month to focus on your studies. This is going to be a very beneficial month for you education wise. Now, you might also be a little bit taken aback by the fact that, by whatever Uranus conjunct the new moon brings your way. So it's going to throw in a curveball, but don't be so quick to dismiss it. I mean, I know you're a Virgo and you like to do things methodically and plan them, and you hate surprises. Well, most Virgos hate surprises because they like to be in control. I'm not saying all of them. You did not see this coming, and you did not see your education taking this particular pathway, but it's good. It's surprising, it's good, it's going to take you out of your comfort zone, and it is the beginning of a new cycle that is going to last for at least 1 year. Now, the reason why I say at least 1 year is because you've got Uranus in your 9th house of studies, of long distance travel and foreign land and foreigners, and personal philosophy and personal faith. Uranus is going to be in this sector of your chart for 7 years. It all started last year, but you are going through a 7-year cycle that is going to overhaul the way you see the world and the way you relate to the wider world. You've got 6 and a bit years ahead of you in which you're likely to travel more than you've ever traveled. You're likely to learn more than you have ever learned. And this is the time for you to open up yourself to whatever surprises the universe throws your way, because they're going to change your outlook upon life and your personal philosophy. You might also travel around the new moon, and you might have to travel quite unexpectedly. But it's all good. It's all good, I'd say. You're protected. You've got Venus in your corner. Venus is the small benefic. Let's not forget that. So enjoy and allow yourself to be blown away by the things you finally understand, and allow yourself to realize that, okay, maybe at one point you believed in something and it was part of your personal life philosophy, but it might no longer serve you and you need to evolve that and you can't hang on to it. Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is the house of communication. It is the house of siblings. It is also the house of day-to-day learning, the house of short distance travel, of selling, and of networking. Around this time, I'd say, if you can go to any sort of events, if you can network, this is going to help you dramatically later on in life. You don't even realize how important the connections that you make around this full moon are going to be. The reason why I say that is because this full moon is very well aspected by Saturn and Pluto. You might meet someone who is really high up, who is an authority in their field, and who can help you understand so much and teach you so much you can't even imagine. So go out there, go networking, mingle, talk to people, present yourself, and be open to making new connections. I'd also say you might have to travel short distance wise around this time, but it's more about the people that you meet than anything else. My dear Libra, so what does May bring to you? Let me tell you this. We've got a new moon happening in Taurus in your 8th house on the 4th of May. And on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 2nd house. Now, for you, my dear Libra, I'd say this month is very much focused on your values and your money. the new moon in Taurus in your 8th house might bring all of a sudden like money falling into your lap out of nowhere. And the reason why I say that is because we've got Uranus involved in the new moon energy, and Uranus brings surprises, so it can go either way. I mean, I'm gonna be positive and I'm gonna say, okay, so you might just like wake up with some unexpected like financial gift that you didn't like work for. It's just something that landed on your lap. On the other hand, it is also possible that you might have to deal with an unexpected expenditure, or someone that you are in a partnership with might need you to help them with resources. Now, all in all, this is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's going to make you reevaluate your attitude and your vision around shared resources in general. So what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, or does it belong to the both of us? How do you deal with shared resources in general? Now, I also have to say the 8th house is the house of sex and power. It is very possible that you're going to go through like some sort of like electric revival of your sex life, and you might have some sort of like revelation around sexual energy and what sex means for you, and what sort of power it brings to you, and what sort of power it gives to the other person. All in all, it's a good month to talk about sex. It's a good month to talk about the money that you share with others. And it's also a good month, I'd say, to talk about the exchange, the dynamic of power that is happening into one of your closest relationships. Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon in Scorpio happening in your 2nd house. And it is going to be a super beneficial one. So you might actually realize how valuable and how worthy some of your skills are, and how much potential of bringing money to you they have because of something that happens around the 18th of May. You're finally being paid for something that you've been doing possibly for a long time, and you acknowledge your worth, because let's face it, most of the times our worth is very much linked to a very materialistic side of life, and it's very much linked to how much money we bring, and how appreciated by society in general, because let's face it, we live in society no matter how much we want to run away from it. How appreciated these qualities that we have and the skills that we have are by the people around us. It is a very good full moon money-wise. And whatever happens around this full moon is going to have an impact on your finances long term. You might land the perfect job and the very lucrative deal, and it might be something that you're going to do for like, I don't know, until you retire. You are going to benefit from the protection of people in power and institutions. And all in all, it's going to change your finances for the better. You don't even see that coming, my dear Libra. My lovely Scorpios, let's talk about what May has in store for you. So this month is very much focused on how you deal with personal relationships, and in particular your one-to-one relationship. And what does that mean for you identity-wise, how that has an impact upon your individuality and sense of self-assertion, and how you can mix these two together. Now, on the 4th of May, we've got a new moon happening in Taurus in your 7th house. This is a very volatile time, I would say. You might receive some piece of unexpected news from your partner, from your husband, from your wife, from your long-term partner. It's not necessarily something that you had envisaged, but lately, and when I say lately, I mean as of last year and for the next 6 years, it might have felt that your personal partnerships have been a little bit rocky, and the universe has been throwing you curveballs, and you've had to deal with things that you never thought you'd have to deal with relationship-wise. It might have also brought you a partner out of nowhere, out of the blue, someone who just arrived in your life and have nothing to do with the ideal partner that you envisaged. But in any case, you have to learn for the next 6 years to respect the other person's sense of freedom, sense of individuality, and give them a lot of freedom and give them a lot of space. You might actually realize that you yourself need a lot of space when it comes to committed relationships. Even though you need a partner who is stable, safe, secure, reliable, loyal, and all that. We know that. It's fine. We know that. But actually, is safe and stable and secure what is going to fulfill you in the long run? To be discussed. In any case, this is a month when a new cycle for the next year is going to commence in your relationship sector. You might take your relationship to the next level. For those of you who are in a partnership that has been on the rocks for some while, this can mean having to let someone go or having someone disappear from your life, vanish into thin air. I'd also caution you, maybe you can advise your partners to be very careful as to not to hurt themselves, not to get involved in accidents, be more patient in general, and try to take it easy, guys. We've got Mercury and Venus though joining, Mercury from the 6th of May and Venus from the 15th of May, joining the Sun in Taurus for the rest of the month. So like I said, this month is all about partnerships, one-to-one committed relationships. It's a good time to open up to your partner. It's a good time to air your concerns. It is a good time, and you'll find yourself probably more from the third week of May onwards, that opening yourself up and saying things that you might have kept for yourself and you might have been reluctant to share with your partner has actually strengthened your relationship. So there might be a crisis that prompts you to talk. Embrace that crisis, talk, and you're going to be very satisfied with the result, I am telling you, because Venus in your 7th house of partnerships from the 15th of May onwards has love written in capital letters all over it. So enjoy the second half of the month. On the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 1st house. Now, what does that mean? It means you are finally coming to terms with who you are becoming, and you are finally coming to terms with who you are now, and maybe that wasn't that's very likely not aligned with who you used to be and with how people used to see you in the past. The 18th of May, 3 days before, 3 days after, but ultimately as part of the bigger picture, should prompt you to evaluate who you are, evaluate how you present yourself to the world, how you dress, how you talk, how you walk, and also evaluate whether you should throw yourself into a new beginning altogether and start taking some risks, because they're very likely going to pay off. I have to tell you that. You might also realize that your personal life philosophy has changed, and it's a scary thing, but it's also a very empowering thing, and it might feel like it is grounding you more than it used to. So the things that you believe in now ground you more than whatever you believed in the past used to. There will be radical changes related to your personal life philosophy. There might be radical changes related to things in your life that involve foreign land and foreign cultures and foreigners in general, and having to learn new things. But you're taking them in very, very nicely, I have to say. And society appreciates that. And you're going to be seen in a positive light by other people. So all eyes are going to be on you, let me just tell you that, which is not something that you are very comfortable with or familiar with. Sorry about that. But you realize that there's power in that, so you should use that power to your advantage, because hey, you are a Scorpio. Hello, you know power better than anyone else. Now let us move on to Sagittarius. My lovely Sagittarians, what is happening for you in May? So the month of May, the first half of it is very much focused on work and job and day-to-day duties and responsibilities. And the second half of the month, I'd say, is much more focused on you retreating from the world and looking inwards and spending time with yourself. Let us talk a little bit about the new moon happening on the 4th of May. It's gonna be a mixed bag. So you might receive some life-altering news related to your job and to your day-to-day responsibilities. You might hear the news of like a coworker having to leave. If you were unhappy in your job, you might decide to leave your job, which is not a bad thing at all. You might say, I don't need this in my life. I'm going to move on and I'm going to find something better, which is, I'd say, you're a Sagittarius and you've got Jupiter in your corner for the rest of the year anyway. So whatever you decide to do, you have protection. So if you feel like your job is not fulfilling you anymore, then this is the time to like drop it. This is the time for you to like seek out new opportunities. You might be prompted by something like some sort of like event or something that you hear about to start looking for new opportunities. And it's a good time. It's absolutely a good time. If you are made redundant, let's say if you lose your job, which like I said, it could happen, it can go either way, because we've got Uranus involved, so you might receive like some very positive piece of news or very distressing. Uranus is like that, keeping us on our toes. Mercury is going into the 6th house on the 6th of May, and Venus is going into your 6th house on the 15th of May. So from the 15th of May onwards, you might actually receive like more praise, possibly more money. If you're looking for a new job, possibly a new offer. So whatever happens at the beginning of the month, and no matter how much it shakes you, things will start to look a lot better from the 15th of May onwards. So don't stress out. Now, we've also got, on the 18th of May, a full moon in Scorpio happening in your 12th house. So I did tell you to focus on yourself, and I did tell you to retreat from the world around this time. This is a time to look inwards. This is a time to rest and recuperate, as I like to say. Do some meditation, as I also like to say. And I am not kidding. It might very well help you. You might have some sort of like spiritual revelation around this time and decide to focus on the things that really, really matter to you. Last but not least, you might have some sort of like insight that you receive from higher up above related to your day-to-day job and what you should actually be doing and what you should be focusing on, and realizing, okay, now I get it. I've tuned into a higher consciousness and I know what I need to do on a day-to-day basis. I know what rituals I need to bring into my life. I know what routines I need to bring into my life. I know that I need to rest in order to be able to expend energy wisely on a day-to-day basis, because it's also about that. Last but not least, we've got Mars entering Cancer in your 8th house after the 16th of May, and it's going to be there for the rest of May and for most of June also. Your 8th house is the house of sex and death and rebirth and taxes and other people's money. So you might very well need to pay your taxes after the 16th of May. You might very well have to like give the money that you owe to like different entities back. But it is also a time for you to like experiment in the bedroom and be very active in the bedroom or wherever you want to have sex, because it doesn't have to be in the bedroom. You're gonna have a lot of stamina, so I'm sure you're gonna use it because hey, you're a Sagittarius, okay? So enjoy May, my lovely Sagittarius. Now, let us talk about Capricorn and what May brings to you, my lovely goats. As in greatest of all time, you know, goat. This month is going to be a lovely one for you, and it's going to have to do with something that you don't necessarily spend that much time on, and that is having fun and relaxing and enjoying yourself and being playful and allowing the inner child to shine. Well, the inner old child to shine, because you're a Capricorn after all. So we've got a new moon happening in Taurus in your 5th house on the 4th of May. The sun is also going to be joined by Mercury and Venus for most of May in your 5th house. Now, the new moon in Taurus in the 5th house, what does it bring? First of all, it can bring a new romantic interest into your life. Out of the blue, out of nowhere. You've got Uranus to blame or thank for that. I don't know. It could be someone like really good for you. It could be someone very electrifying and very hard to control and very hard to pin down. But you're going to enjoy it. I feel like it. And it's going to challenge you to get out of your serious bubble and have some fun. This is a month in which I advise you, I strongly recommend to you Capricorns that you have some fun. I know it's not easy and I know someone has to do the work, but in order for you to do the work well, you have to work hard, play harder. At least that's what they say. Now, let me tell you this. This is especially from the 3rd week of May, so from the 15th onwards, you're very likely going to enjoy some romantic time, even if it's like just innocent flirting, even if it's just like dating. This is a very good month to date. This is a very good month to go out. If you're single, this is the month to make the conscious decision to put yourself out there. If you want to meet someone, you have to go out there. You have to go through the dating process. You have to go through the flirting. You have to, well, I'm saying you have to. You don't have to do anything, but that's how it's usually done. So, up to you. I know you're an upholder of traditions, so that's where I'm coming from. And yeah, just enjoy yourself. Enjoy the romance in your life, and allow yourself to have some fun. Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 11th house. A very, very, very beautiful full moon, if I may say so, in your house of friendships. You're going to feel supported by your friends. You're going to feel at home and embraced and loved and appreciated in your group of friends or in the groups of people that you decide to become a part of. You are going to feel that you very strongly identify with the goals and the objectives and the dreams and the mentalities of the groups that you adhere to. And you might finally feel like you've found your tribe. You've found the people that you should be around with. This is also a time of the month in which you need to allocate a little bit more time and attention to your friends. And it's going to be very rewarding on a personal level. You're going to feel acknowledged. You're going to feel appreciated, like I said. So do carve out some time to go out there and spend time with the people that actually appreciate who you are, Capricorn. My Aquarius brothers and sisters out there. So let us talk about what May is going to bring to us and to you, to everyone. So this month is very much focused on two things, okay? So we've got our house and family sector with the surprises that May is going to bring. And we've got the 10th house of career that is going to be the focus after the full moon in Scorpio on the 18th of May. So let's take these systematically. New moon in Taurus on the 4th house is conjunct Uranus in the 4th house on the 4th of May, actually. Pretty neat, right? Coincidences? Nah. Synchronicities? Yeah. This new moon is obviously a new beginning. You know the drill. You know me. You know what I say. It's the beginning of a new phase. You're gonna have to deal with new challenges in your home life and in your living situation. Now, the challenge can be very empowering, and you can see like definite signs of progress in it, and you can see why you have to do the things that you need to do. Now, if you have any plans for your house around the 4th of May, go ahead with them. But be mindful, let's say, if you're doing like any sort of renovation or something, be mindful of the electricity. Be mindful not to electrocute yourself because we've got Uranus involved. Be mindful of unexpected challenges that you might run into. So it's a good time to renovate the house. It's a good time to take a new approach towards your space, your private space, the place that you live in. But you are going to have to deal with things that you didn't think you had to deal with. Now, the change can be related to you having to move somewhere. It can be related, let me tell you this, it can be related to, in the grand scheme of things, I'd say something that has to do with your profession and something that has to do with your day-to-day job. The 4th of May and 3 days before, 3 days after, you might hear some news regarding a very close relative, like parents, siblings, and you're gonna have to act to be quick and act on your feet. You're quite good at that. I mean, you're fixed in your ways. We're fixed in our ways. But when the unexpected occurs, I mean, we moan about it and we're like, oh, this is so wrong, whatever. But we deal with it, and we have the advantage, I'd say, of being quite electric ourselves and quick to tackle things. Quite a stressful new moon, but it can go either way. The surprise can be super positive, and the news can be like really positive, even though jarring. Stressful and positive at the same time. I think that's a decent combination, isn't it? Now, on the 18th of May, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio in your 10th house of honors, career, profession, professional pathway. This is a fantastic full moon for you. This is you getting praised, getting rewarded, getting that promotion, getting that acknowledgement from bosses and from people who are in positions of authority for the hard work that you've put in your career. This is also a time when you can find a mentor, and you can find someone who is very high up the ladder and is willing to help you to climb up the ladder and is willing to give you power and empower you. You're gonna love this full moon, my dear Aquarius. You might hear news of you getting that job if you were looking for a new job. You might hear news of a new position opening up for you, and it might have opened up a while ago and you applied for it and you finally got the news that, yeah, it's fine, it's all good, you got it, congratulations. It's a time to congratulate yourself for what you are doing career-wise, and you feel like you're finally going somewhere. Last but not least, after the 16th of May, Mars is going to enter Cancer in your 6th house for the rest of May. And slowly but surely, it's going to start forming some beautiful aspects with, well, I say beautiful. It's going to start forming some beautiful aspects and some challenging aspects at the same time. It's going to start forming beautiful aspects towards the end of the month with Neptune in Pisces in your second house of earned income and money, so that cash flow's coming in. And at the same time, it's going to be opposing the planets in your 12th house. So Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. So you might have like some sort of like doubts regarding the things that you do and how they help other people and the grand scheme of things and your place in the universe and all that. You might have to deal with hidden enemies and people trying to undermine you, but you've got support from Neptune. You've got support from other people as well. So it's a mixed bag. I mean, be mindful of people still trying to undermine you, and be mindful of hidden enemies and people in the shadows who might not have your best interests at heart, but also be mindful that some people are actually rooting for you from behind the scenes and in the shadows. So deal with it, Aquarius. I mean, I'm gonna deal with it as well. What am I saying? Let us move on to Pisces, last but not least. Thank you for watching, Pisces. I mean, I'm making the wild assumption that you've watched the entire video, but like most people, I think, jump straight to their part. What does May have in store for you, my dear Pisces? So this month is going to be focused for you on education, higher education, you learning new skills, new things, and also there's going to be a lot of coming and going this month, my dear Pisces. Why do I say that? So let's start with the very beginning. We've got a new moon in Taurus in your third house of communication, short distance travel, siblings, connections, networking, selling. You might have to travel out of the blue around the full moon, so be prepared. Don't make plans. I'd say if you are already making plans, I mean, we all kind of like know and we have an idea of what like the week ahead is going to bring for us, but I'd say keep your schedule quite fluid and quite flexible around the 4th of May, so like 3 days before and 3 days after, because you might have to like make some unexpected short trips, like in cities like surrounding the place that you live in. Short distance travel is definitely a possibility. You might also hear some news from a sibling around the new moon in Taurus, so the 4th of May. Very unexpected again. You've got Uranus to thank for, you as well. Whatever they're throwing your way, you're going to be like, hold on a minute, I never thought you'd do that. So be prepared for the unexpected. That's my advice. And like I said, keep your calendar as flexible as humanly possible. I mean, you're quite adaptable yourself, my dear Pisces, because you're a mutable sign, but you're going to find that adaptability is going to prove very useful and helpful around the new moon in Taurus. Now, we've got a full moon happening in Scorpio on the 18th of May in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of higher education. Are you finalizing a course? Are you graduating from someplace? If you are graduating, if you're finalizing some sort of like educational phase in your life, this is so well aspected, you cannot even imagine it. I am telling you. Whatever institution or course you graduate from, and whatever you've learned in the past years maybe, is going to prove incredibly beneficial in helping you chase your dreams. You might feel like you are seeing with clarity your objectives for the future, your dreams for the future, and where you want to be headed. And also, you might feel like you identify with a much higher cause than the individual cause. Pisces in general is very attuned to the needs of the earth and the needs of humanity in general, and the higher mind and the higher consciousness and this universe and other universes, you know. And it's going to be very clear for you how Please tell me if it's not clear for you. Or contact me for a personal reading if you want me to clarify things for you. You're gonna figure out a way in which you can implement these dreams and these long-term ideals in a very practical and pragmatic way. And the things that you've learned in the past, particularly in the past year, are gonna prove incredibly useful in doing this. Now, last but not least, we've got Mars entering Cancer in your 5th house after the 16th of May, and it's going to be there for the rest of May and most of June. What does that mean? Well, it means you're going to put a lot of energy into enjoying yourself this month after the 16th of May, my dear Pisces, and you deserve it. It can also mean that you're going to put a lot of energy into a creative project, and you are one of the artists of the zodiac. You're arguably the sign with the most vivid imagination out there, or anyone who's got like a strong Pisces attunement has a very vivid imagination and can live in the world of fantasy quite easily. After the 16th of May, it's very recommended, I'd say, to focus your energy and your stamina into expressing yourself through some sort of like creative project. It is also a good time to date if obviously you're not in a relationship, it is a good time, let's say, for flings and romantic adventures, liaisons. You don't even have to do too much about it. People are just gonna gravitate your way, and you're happy with that. I mean, I assume you're happy with that, Pisces. So, thank you for watching, guys. I'm hoping you've enjoyed the May horoscopes. And don't forget, I also offer natal chart readings, horoscopes for the year, which are called transits and forecasts for the year, which are based on your personal natal chart. So they are personalized for you. So if you want to plan your year accordingly, if you want to choose like the best dates for like, let's say, a big event in your life, the launch of a business, etc. Or if you want to just know where you're headed in the next year, get in touch with me and we'll take it from there. So I've left a link in the description box down below. You can contact me via my website. Have a lovely month of May, astro lovers, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you. Bye.